Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie Lafferty and thank you for joining me today. Have you ever wondered if it would be possible to make a living being employed from home? It seems like it would be ideal for many to work from the comforts of their home and be closer to their family. For many years, I looked into door-to-door sales, phone marketing, and getting into the various at-home sales schemes like Avon and the like, but none of these were for me. I didn't like pushing products onto people time and time again and being rejected. Though this may work for some, it wasn't for me. Finally, Etsy came along and it got me thinking that this might be the opportunity I had been waiting for. However, is Etsy something that I can fully support myself off of? I am already a shop owner on Etsy, but the items I sell are not expensive. It was something worth finding out. So I thought I would look into the steps needed to have a successful shop and share that with you. There are several steps that must be taken to get a company to a fully sustainable career from home. But I found that the key elements required to be successful were recommended over and over by the various companies. I'm going to go over each of the elements and break them down for you so that we have a better understanding of what each of these means. The first thing I want to go over is a section called All About You. As a consumer, we all would like to know a little bit more about the products that we are purchasing and who is making them. In your Etsy shop, there is an About section where you can paint a picture of who you are and why you do what you do. Make sure that you are very thorough in this section. Tell them a story about yourself, including facts like why you started your craft, what led you to sell on Etsy, and more about the products that you offer. If you're anything like me, visuals are always a great reference too. It wouldn't hurt for you to include photographs of yourself, the area that you work in, your pets, your children, anything else that might make you relatable to your target market and to help you generate sales. The more personal that you make yourself, the better the chance that you have to make a connection with your buyers. The next thing I'd like to talk about is advertising. We all know what advertising can do for a company. Picture the scene. You're sitting at home, you're watching your favorite TV show, and it's getting to the crucial plot twist. Just when you're going to find out what happens, a commercial break. Agitating. I know. Now, you're watching a 30-second advertisement for Coca-Cola. Catchy music, you're singing along to it, and some happy character on the screen sitting there drinking a delicious Coke, and you're like, oh, man, I could really go for a Coke right now. Are you thirsty? I am thirsty. As much as we hate to admit it, is very effective in the world of consumerism, and we've all been a victim to it. However, from the opposite side of the market, advertising is the key to success. Advertising in Etsy is a little simpler than on television. You can break this down into 3 simple steps: high-quality photos, detailed item descriptions, and proper tagging. Also, consider purchasing some business cards. These are a great way for you to get your company name out there. Take them to a local business, or you can place a few cards like in each of your orders. Maybe put something like a handwritten discount code on the back and encourage them to share them with their friends so that you're expanding the knowledge of your company. The earlier that you start treating your small business like a larger company, the easier it will be to make that transition later on. Excuse me one second. Let's talk about photos now. High-quality photos are an important part of your advertising. If you take a poorly lit photograph, position it awkwardly, or take it from too far away so that you can't see the details, it's kind of likely that you're going to lose that sale. Although it is much easier and more convenient to use our camera phones, in reality, we aren't getting as good of a picture if we use those. We could get a much better picture to use a personal camera, or from using a personal camera. If you don't have a personal camera, you could try to borrow one from someone you know, or you could just invest in one. It would be worth it in the long run. It's going to make you money back quicker by having the good pictures. Make sure that you set your photographs up in a way that relates to the story you told in your About section. If you made yourself sound like a down-to-earth Martha Stewart homemaker, then find a spot in your home that highlights this and take your photographs there. Or you could set up a photography area with a neutral backdrop and utilize items around the home as props. Setting up your photograph is as important as making sure that the lighting and the angle is correct. Trial and error will be the best method, but once you establish a pattern, it will be easy to produce phenomenal photos each and every time. If photography isn't something you are skilled in, consider hiring a professional photographer to take pictures of your stock. So that way you have the highest quality photographs for advertising available. Next are the item descriptions, which are as equally important. The more information that you can include about your product in the item description, the better. Try to include the product's width, height, length, and whatever materials are used in each item that you produce. If you use a special type of material such as hypoallergenic or organic materials, be sure to point this out. These types of things not only allow you to market to a specific type of buyer, but they give you more vocabulary to use while tagging the item. Also, make sure that you tell your market what the items can be used for. This may not apply to every type of product, but if you craft something that could serve multiple purposes, tell your buyers as many of these purposes as possible. Though time-consuming, you are planting seeds in the minds of the readers and not leaving it up to their imagination. The less work they have to do on their own, the better the chance of sealing the deal. The last step in advertising is tagging. Tagging is very important because this is how the buyer searches for items. If you don't use the proper tags, you may miss out on the sale. I've read that the best way to ensure that your item is coming up in the searches is to repeat words and create longer tags. You have 14 opportunities to make your product show up in as many searches as possible. If you use up those tags with one word, doll, crochet, frozen, Elsa, queen, you might be missed. Instead, find ways of combining the words and making one or two longer tags, such as Frozen Queen Elsa Crochet Doll, or Queen Elsa Doll, or Crochet Frozen Elsa Doll. Though repetitive, you may find that you are more likely to have a hit if you can add more into each tag. Also, as said before, if you have specific materials, use those in the tags as well. Organic wool crochet Elsa Doll. If you can't come up with 14 unique tags at first, then don't worry about it. Just leave it empty and go in and revise them at a later date. Each time the advertisement expires, it might be worth revising all of the information put into the description and each tag, that just to make sure that they're still the best to use for that time. Okay, next up, generate positive reviews. By following the above steps, you are well on your way to a 5-star review for every order. But there is still one more thing that you can do for your buyers to let them know that each and every order is as important as the other. Plus, 5-star reviews are a great way to drive sales. Your customer can read the reviews and see your ratings, so the more positive feedback that you can get from your buyers, the more opportunity you have to produce future sales. So you're probably wondering, what can you do to get a 5-star review? It's easy. Be fast, be polite, and thank your customers. I make sure that every time I get an order, I send them a message thanking them for their purchase. I ask them if they have any specific requests for the item they require before I make it, and I let them know the progress if I'm taking a little longer than expected. Keeping the customer notified keeps them in touch and at ease, and it can be a little bit nerve-wracking buying products online from a new person. So building trust through communication is important. I also always send a thank you card with each and every order. In the card, I am sure to use the customer's name and to let them know my appreciation for their patronage. I might include a funny anecdote or story relating to the production of the items, and I always ask the customer to leave feedback or a review on my page. The more personal that you are with your customers, the more likely they are to remember you and order from you again for a future need. If you followed all of the recommendations, it's very likely that you will get feedback. Though I wouldn't always count on this to happen because many people just don't like leaving feedback. Now that we've covered the basics for starting up or fine-tuning your Etsy business, let's talk about the steps that you need to turn your small business into a larger company. It's very important that you understand that running your business from home is the equivalent of operating a larger company in another location. You must delegate your time adequately, as well as your income from the company. Every cent that you make could be or should be put back into the business, at least until you start turning larger profit. Every penny earned is a greater opportunity for you to invest into better materials or advertising for the company. Now let's talk about some of the things that you could do to help along this journey. The first bit of advice that I can give you is to make sure that you are balancing your business life and your home life. Running a business from your home is easy to forget that you have a life outside of the company. Take time for yourself and your loved ones by setting up a schedule. If you are on the clock, work hard towards your orders, making sure that everything possible is in line for the week to come. Make sure your family or household members understand your schedule and remind them that if it were a normal job outside of the home, you wouldn't be there to interact with them. However, if you are like myself and you have 2 young children at home, then it might not be as easy for them to understand your schedule. So just do the best you can for now and possibly try to find someone to help you with the children while you are working if it comes to that, if it's needed. If you have allocated that time as your family time, relax and enjoy yourself. Forget about the business for the moment and go back to it at your next scheduled date. Consider in your time before bed and reflect on your day, making a list of things that went well and the things that went not so well. Plan what you want to get accomplished for the following workday and read this in the morning when you are starting out. Always have a plan, one with a large task and several small tasks. Aim to do your larger tasks first so that you have time to at least accomplish your main goal of the day, and then if something comes up and you're unable to do your smaller tasks, you can still have that feeling like you accomplished something and it wasn't all for naught. You don't want to make yourself too overwhelmed, so just having a schedule and planning out your days could help with this. Preparing yourself for the transition into a larger company is important too. If this is the first time that you have run your own company, it's a good idea to start branching out small. Go to locally owned boutiques or craft shows to help generate orders or build up small clientele. Craft shows are a great way to get noticed too. You will often find that several wholesalers are at craft shows as well, and if your product is unique and eye-catching enough, it may be picked up by a wholesaler, and that's when things could really start looking up for you. Know your terminology and your company jargon. Nobody expects you to be an expert out of the door, but if you want to be taken seriously, sound like you at least know what you're talking about. Study, read, and educate in any free moment that you have. You could read magazines, blogs, websites, or articles online to help spruce up your vocabulary, as well as keep you informed about the market in which you hope to expand. The more you know about the industry and your target buyers, the easier it will be for you to sell your product to the consumer. Whether that is an individual on your Etsy page or a wholesaler interested in a larger order, or if you are able to answer their questions without hesitation, your confidence will show and you are more likely to build a trusting relationship with that person. Time management is crucial to your company. Make sure that you are allowing yourself enough time to complete each order by the date that you are promising to ship. When organizing your information regarding your products, leaving helpful notes to yourself with item descriptions and the amount of time it took you to complete the piece may be helpful to you with recreating an item in the future or when pricing out the item later. Speaking of pricing, this is crucial to your company's growth as well. Many people sell themselves short on pricing and end up not creating the revenue that they could be. Shop around yourself and compare your prices with other successful businesses on Etsy. Take into account the amount of time and the cost of materials, plus shipping and find a reasonable price to land on. However, do not undersell on a price just to create a sale. It's very easy to get excited every time you get a new order, but if you want the company to grow into something larger, it is sometimes better to sell one high-priced item in a set amount of time than to sell several low-priced items in the same amount of time. Also, be sure to ship everywhere. Make your items available internationally, and that opens up so many more opportunities to sell your items. Etsy has a shipping price calculator available on its website. So, I would say that from the information gathered, it is very likely that you could make a living off of your Etsy business page. And depending on the items you're selling, you could even develop a lasting and memorable company which produces products for years to come. Until you get there, remember the steps talked about in this video. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I have to go spruce up my Etsy page. I wish you success with your company, and thank you for watching. Bye.